by hitting that share button on Facebook. Or if you want to be really nice, send a mass email to your address book. And please ask your friends to share it with their friends. It's that simple for you to do your part and help us help children everywhere. Spread the word. We didn't get to 40,000 listeners without two things: the power of this radio station and your help, and we're so grateful. So do it right now. Hit that share button. And if anyone asks you why this program is important, here's what I want you to tell them. There's two reasons. First, my guests are all experts in their respective aspects of child welfare. And second, to get news about the child welfare system you can't get anywhere else. That's why this program has value. This is the only program that offers a concise review of what's actually happening in the news that affects youth. You don't hear this on the regular media. You don't hear it on television. You can't hear this stuff anywhere else. And the fact of the matter is, it's important. Case in point is a story that comes to us this week, written by Catherine Galliano. And it comes from the Baton Rouge, Louisiana Advocate. And the headline reads, "Foster care coverage in Louisiana could be extended thanks to money from Louisiana's BP oil spill settlement." This is a story about a set of bills that would use BP oil spill reparation money to extend foster care from 18 years to 21 years of age. And it advanced last Monday to the full state Senate. It's Senate Bill 129 by Senator Ryan Gaddy would allow teenagers to remain in foster care until they graduate high school or turn 21 years old. Now understand, this is not perfect, okay? Perfect would be to extend adolescence to about the age of 27 or 28 and give all these children all across the country all of the services they deserve. But it is progress, and in a minute you're going to find out about a young lady who was really helped by this. Now, remember that before that they would simply age out at 18 and that would be that. Now it's until they graduate high school or turn 21, whichever comes first. Gaddy said the extension would provide adolescents in foster care with a stable support system to ensure they're adequately prepared to live independently. I don't know if it will go that far, but it will help. Gaddy's bill was first shelved in the Senate Finance Committee due to concerns over its roughly $961,000 general fund price tag. But it was brought back up when Senate Finance Chair Eric LaFleur tied an amendment to his Senate bill, which is a different bill, but he tied an amendment to his bill to use revenue from the BP disaster settlement to fund the program. And you have to appreciate that kind of ingenuity when something is in a political atmosphere and it's failing. And someone else steps up and says, wait a minute, I have a solution, there's a way that we can work this out, and he makes it happen. Now, not all 18-year-olds exiting foster care are prepared for financial, medical, and legal independence, Gaddy said. Many have been shuffled between foster homes and are behind in school, and the loss of stable housing and emotional support prior to graduation could prevent the teenagers from finishing school, he said. Now, here's the example, is 17-year-old Ella. Ella is a cheerleader and a foster child, and she said she'll age out of foster care in October when she turns 18. But despite extra classes, she won't graduate high school for another year. She said she entered foster care as a failing freshman a year behind her peers. But since then, she's risen to earn A's and B's in her classes and wants to continue pursuing her education. Ella entered foster care in 2016, so she hasn't really been in for that long. She was a teenager when she entered foster care, after her mother was unable to house and support Ella and her sister. The teenager said she felt torn between assisting her mother and supporting herself, and you see that so much under people who are sort of in this tenuous, unstable housing situation. And I need signs to be much darker and bigger. You see that happen so much. You have a child whose allegiance is completely torn between doing what's right for them, which is so important because their whole future depends on it, and then that feeling that they have that in order to do what's right for them, they'd have to abandon people that they love. I've actually seen people go away to college and come home after about a month or so because they just felt so guilty. They felt like they were abandoning their families, and it's a bizarre spot to be into. She says, in 6 months I'll be 18. Do I choose me or my mom? I want so badly to graduate and go to college, but I'm so scared to make the wrong choice. Ella said, I'm not ready to age out. I'm not ready to choose between these two lives. I'm not ready to give up or move on. Increasing the age of youth exiting the system will give kids like me a little bit longer to finish school and grow a little longer, she said. It will give us a chance to find our place in the world without the burden of choosing between what we have and what we have to leave behind. Many adolescents who age out of the system fall prey to crime, prostitution, human trafficking, and transient lifestyles. National surveys show about 20% of former foster youth end up incarcerated, and about 25% become homeless. And that's like way higher than the national average among children who are not in foster care. The percentage is like dramatically higher. Each year, about 140 to 180 foster children in Louisiana age out before graduating high school. While funding new programs is difficult in today's budget climate, the bill's fiscal note doesn't take into account the cost of not doing something. And this is such a key point here. You spend money to do something, and hopefully it has an effect. But if you do nothing, and that was actually a quote from Senator Sharon Hewitt, the potential alternatives of jail and homelessness could cost the state way more in the long run than investing in foster children's education today, she said. So good luck to the folks in Louisiana, and we'll try to keep you posted and find out if that actually makes its way through the Senate, but I don't see anything blocking it right now. Now, there's another story. Aging out of foster care, there's a review of best practices towards prevention and amelioration. And this is something from Cal Poly, California Polytechnic State University, by Catherine Lukov. The latest data from the Children's Bureau of the Administration for Children and Families shows approximately 408,000 children are in foster care, and that's already old news. It's 440,000 now because of the opioid epidemic. Now, here, this is interesting, though, when you break, let's use 400,000 as a nice round number, okay? Approximately half that number are expected to reunify with their birth parents because that's the goal of foster care, and they're expected to reunify before reaching adulthood. Almost 1/4 of them, say 100,000 children, are available for adoption. Those who are not adopted or do not reunify with their birth family members remain in foster care until aging out, what they call age-related emancipation, and I don't think they should ever use that word emancipation, but they do. Of course, a certain number of children also exit foster care each year. In 2010, more than 250,000 exited foster care. Over 10% of the children who exited foster care did so because of age-related, and here's that horrible word again, emancipation. This phenomenon known as aging out of the foster care system. So 27,000 is what we're looking at here. 27,000 teenagers a year become legal adults without any permanent connection to another adult who could provide guidance and support through these most vulnerable years of early adulthood. Now, you hear all the negative stories, and the negative stories are there. They're you know, completely true, but you know what? People have worked very, very hard for quite a while to try to make things a little bit better. Legislation has increased adoption significantly over the past 2 decades. Legislative efforts to reduce the rate of age-related emancipation from foster care have been underway for a long time. In 1980, I'm going to run down a list of bills and you'll see what I mean. 1980, they passed the Adoption Assistance and Child Welfare Act. In 1997, Congress enacted the Adoption and Safe Families Act. In 2003, there was the Keeping Children and Families Safe Act, which reauthorized the Adoption Opportunities Act and the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act. In 2006, the Safe and Timely Interstate Placement of Foster Children's Act was enacted. And these efforts have all been successful to some extent, given that adoptions from foster care have risen, almost doubled in the last 20 or 30 years. But so many more children out there who need help, so many more children out there who need someone who cares about them. And so this is what we're up against, and this is why we need your help. So you understand how this works? The success of a program like this is wholly dependent on people like you, caring enough to want to share its value via social media. If we work together, We can use social media to improve the lives of children, and it actually requires very little effort. So consider all of you deputies in the Child Welfare Army, and do it right now. Hit that share button on Facebook and tell your friends to share it with their friends, and on and on and on down the line. And if you do that, we'll develop mentors on a national scale. So please do it right now. Share it with your friends. Let's get the ball rolling. And while you're doing that, I'd like to remind everyone that our theme music comes to us as courtesy from Kurt Seldamridge, operator of the Cave Rehearsal Recording Space in Pennsylvania. If you have recording or rehearsal needs, you can get in touch with Kurt by emailing to thecave1876@gmail.com. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Marty Light, who graciously donated his time to play sweet, sweet bass guitar on the track. Call in tonight. Feel free to write your comments into Facebook. The number is 609-807-2492. I'd like to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be with my guest, David Nash. Back in a minute. And we are back. Lot of friends out there listening tonight. Stacy has written in. Jennifer. Dana is out there. There's 2 Jennifers. We got a lot of Jennifers going on. Joanna is out there. Jean and Amy are listening tonight. Sitting next to me is a very, very interesting gentleman who I've only known for a short period of time, but have found to be truly inspiring. David Nash. Well, David, tell them your title. The school?
Well, I'm a school-to-work coordinator and an OSHA instructor at Mercer County Technical Schools.
And you're so much more than that.
Well, that's the blanket term, but we really connect as a family at MCTS, Mercer County Technical Schools, to help provide students with a connection with their career, not a job. I've often said job stands for just over broke, and a career is something that's, lasts a decent amount of time, usually about 10 years, and can be lifelong.
Just over broke. That's a bumper sticker right there. That's the first bumper sticker of the show, ladies and gentlemen. David, I just want to back up a notch, though, okay, because there's people listening all over the country and some all over the world, actually, at least one from Sweden. I wonder what time it is in Sweden. Anyway, would you just tell everyone what Mercer County Technical Schools is?
I would be happy to do that. Mercer County Technical Schools is a career and tech ed center. Originally, everybody knows this term across the nation as a VOTEC, but we don't say that anymore just because of the fact that it conjures up a stereotype and often a mindset for people that have been around for a while of jean jackets and mullets, and it's for people that, for a lack of a better term, are conceived that they can't succeed in an academic environment, which is totally untrue. CTE people make this country run and provide a lifelong passion for people. So Mercer County Technical Schools is a center that's a school where students attend high school and come to us and learn various career-type trades, whether it be architectural engineering design, culinary arts, health science academy. There's a myriad of programs that any high school student can take.
So we're going to have to drive that CTE point home a little bit, I think.
Correct.
Mainly because it's radio, and once it's out there, it's gone, so quickly. So what does CTE stand for again?
CTE stands for Career and Technical Education.
Career and Technical Education. And we're no longer using the term VOTEC because it just connotes the absolutely wrong thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I went to school, VOTEC were the kids who couldn't cut it in college. That's, that was what it meant. And boy, I'll tell you, a lot of those guys made a lot more money than than a lot of us who went to college over the years. Mitch and Casey are out there, and they say hi to Mr. Nash.
Oh my gosh! Well, it's wonderful to have people watching, and it's funny you say that. Is when we get working with our students, and when I say us or we or I'm talking about anybody across this country that is doing this type of education, and it's been going on for years, and in Europe it's been going on for thousands of years. The mindset of what we call 80s thinking, or what I've even coined the phrase of 1985 thinking, is I'm not sure what my son or daughter's gifted at. Let's get a communications degree, a liberal arts degree, go to a local school, state school, a private school. Let them matriculate through the course offerings, and by their junior or senior year, they'll find something that they're passionate about, whether it be an English major,
Right.
psych major, etc. And that worked really well. We all know anybody can name somebody that used that methodology to discover their career. That's not working in today's market for a whole bunch of reasons.
Now, we're going to talk about that more, I think, in just a minute, but I just want to back up now. So we're talking about CTE, which stands for
Career and Technical Education.
Career and Technical Education, that is offered at MCTS,
Which is
the Mercer County Technical School, right?
correct.
And I think something that people need to understand that's really, really important is that it's free.
That's the part that we're the best kept secret, which we shouldn't be, and we're working hard to do. Case in point, why you and I are speaking
talking right now.
to 40,000 people, and to get the word out that I often bump into parents or get to connect and resonate with people, and they're oh my gosh, my son or daughter has come alive since they've come to your school, and we feed off of that as instructors. We've gone through a massive upswing in providing quality professionals that are coming from the outside private sector that have their passion for their career area of study that they've actually done and been successful.
Right.
And now they're working with guys and girls that have shown interest. And it's really, it's invigorating, and it is free. All people would need to do is just, if you're in New Jersey or throughout the United States, just Google career and technical education, or your county or the town that you live in career and tech ed.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that
it's everywhere. It has to be.
It is.
I mean,
it
come
is.
on. You know, they have all kinds of tradesmen in other states besides New Jersey,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They certainly have electrical wires running. And in a minute, we're also going to talk about how a lot of these trades have expanded to places where there are a whole lot of different jobs that you might not encounter in your everyday life, but are out there and pay a really good wage.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the things that we try to drive home to our young people, especially the ones who we work with who are vulnerable, is that it's so much more important to have that career than to have a job. You know, that it means everything. A job doesn't give you. I think, you know, I saw some stats a while ago that said you have to earn something like $15 or $18 an hour in order to have an apartment like in Trenton.
Sure.
You know, that's what you have to earn. And if you're not earning that money, then you can't live. It's simple. And people are writing in. Someone asked if kids, do kids need permission from their parents in order to go to this school? Is it?
Well, of course, we'd want
Parents are involved,
we
right?
want
They're
parents
minors.
involved. But here's the neatest part is the website. So again, every career and technical ed school has a methodology to how students are enrolled. For the most part, it's free, and I've never run into a situation where people have to pay that are in high school. For us at Mercer County Technical Schools, it's right on our website, and people can enroll in our programs on the website. Students can get the ball rolling by applying, and of course telling their parents. We don't want anybody circumventing the people that support and love their kids.
Right.
But we used to have a pen and paper. Now everything's going the way it's going, and here we are in 2018. It's a no-brainer that it would be an online application.
Yeah.
Once an individual discovers the website, Mercer County Technical Schools, mcts.edu is the school, you can scroll through the high school programs and see which one interests you. And of course, you're not going to sign up right then and there. All someone needs to do is go to their guidance office at their high school and says, hey, I want to come up and take a tour. I want to come up and see the school. The buses come from the home schools, whether it be Lawrence, Princeton, Ewing, Trenton, West Windsor, come to the school every day, and a visit can be arranged with the home school and the guidance office. So to be clear, and for anyone that's listening and for us talking right here, the journey begins by going to the website. The journey then begins by applying online and then coming for a visit. If you come for a visit and you don't want to attend the school, you can just withdraw your application on, and it's not anything hard and fast.
Sure.
So,
And it's so simple to do, and I hope people realize that, because we're talking about trades and tradesmanship and craftsmanship and stuff like that.
absolutely.
But there is an arm of Mercer County Technical Schools, which is the Health Science Academy, which is extremely college focused.
Well, it's absolutely correct, and we've tread into new areas in addition to the Health Science Academy. So to break it down, there's three models, three pathways that people normally have CTE education, career and technical education, to proceed down. The first is what everyone knows to be is standard programs: auto collision, culinary arts, graphic design, photography, film editing, things that are woven into subject matter, architectural engineering and design. A lot of times people think that a CTE school is only you're going to be a mason or a carpenter. That's still there and thriving, but there's so much more. Case in point, like you're saying, our Health Science Academy.
Yeah.
So our conventional model that's been out for 50 years, it's our 50th anniversary, by the way. That's everything that the public listening hears and knows and more. In addition to that, now, we've tread into academies. And we have the Health Science Academy, which means freshman to senior year. So any student attends their freshman through senior year for a rigorous, specific courses that are engineered to really stimulate an individual that's interested in a health science background, and med school, radiology, and the list goes on and on. We also have a STEM Academy, and that's a buzzword that is really coming forth to the public now, and it's been in the world of education, has been around for 2-3 years, but STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And that is an incredible program that we have, again, freshman through senior. Students leave 8th grade, they come to our school, and they take all their academic courses in highly specialized subject matter for freshman through senior year. They can still play homeschool sports, they can still do the drama club, they can still be a part of their family at their sending school, but if they want that really rigorous subject matter to be grown within them, that's where the academies. And then our last one is our Culinary Academy. I mean, think back to what.
I'm smiling because I've had their food and it's really good. Gosh, they cook like crazy.
So anybody who's been around, look at the explosion the Food Network has brought to the culinary world. I mean, let's face it. It used to be a show on Channel 6 on Saturday nights with the Green Grocer or Joe.
Well, I grew up to Julia Child.
There you go. So PBS, absolutely. And that's all we had. Now you have a network that's going 24/7, 365 on all the different genres of the culinary experience. And look at the food truck movement, and look at people being passionate about really delicious barbecue and other things.
Yeah.
So it's not only, hey, do you want to be a carpenter at MCTS? Hey, do you want to be an engineer? Do you want to be an accountant? Do you want to be go to pre-med? Or do you want to go down the road of owning your own restaurant? I mean, cosmetology. Look at the field of cosmetology and glam and what people are doing in that genre.
Yeah, a lot of roads you can go down. So how did you get started doing this? What's your personal story in 3 minutes?
All right. Well, it all started. I grew up in West Windsor, and that was before the housing explosion. And I was raised by two wonderful parents, Pat and Bill Nash. And my father's a union electrician. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I had two older brothers that chose an academic path. My brother's MBA and works for PSE&G, and my other brother's a teacher. And the reality is I was a DCBA student. And that's a self-made term for me.
Oh, what?
A DCBA student, DCBA. And I would get D's and C's and learn how the school was a game. By the time I was in middle school, I figured out school was a game. And as long as I gave everybody what they wanted, I could do what I wanted when no one was looking, meaning take things apart, put things back together. I was fascinated with how things worked. I was fascinated with things mechanical. And my father and I worked on a lot of stuff in the garage. He had a race car from Flemington Speedway, and I'd be out in the garage helping him with that. So that was a springboard to when I was a freshman in high school. I had a great guidance counselor, and he said, look, you don't have to go down the road that your brothers went down. Just because everybody's going to college doesn't mean you have to go to college. And that struck a chord with me. And again, with the support of my parents, we checked out Mercer County Technical School. So I actually
went there.
I went there. I went there. And I'm still here to tell you I'm alive and functioning. I've had 3 different careers. Because there's a lot of times there's people 30 to 50 that think that if you go to a CTE school, that it's only a dead end and you're only going to have this one-dimensional job, and that's definitely not the case, and that's why we're talking. So
you're homegrown talent. You're walking the walk and talking the talk.
And I can tell you, I didn't set out to think that I was going to be here mentoring students on how to find a career. So I went for automotive technology, fell in love with it, got A's for the first time in my life without even trying. I mean, I tried, but I was interested. I felt that passion. I ended up working at a local dealership on Route 1, and they had a scholarship program at Mercer County Community College. So I did take sociology and psych, but it was also with heavy automotive background infused into that. And by the time I was 20, I was out of my parents' house, living with 5 guys that were all functional, all had careers. And for the rest is history. I was a shop foreman by the time I was 24, and I had a passion to teach. And the opportunity presented itself at the turn of the century, and I became an auto shop teacher. at Mercer County Technical Schools, which I taught in the classroom that I once sat in, which is really, that really rang true in my heart because I understood the guys and girls that were in my class.
Yeah, how's the view from the other side?
It's really interesting, and it caused me to be passionate about doing the best that I could do every day because I knew it resonated with me who they were. They were the kids in school that weren't sure. They would take chem and bio and not click. They could do it if they applied themselves. I could do anything when I applied myself when I was in school, but I wasn't passionate. And that's really what it is all about. You got to find out what you're naturally good at. You got to find out what you love. And here's the kicker. What are they going to pay you for? Because you could talk to a kid about anything they're passionate about and what they're good at, but then you got to be honest with yourself as a young person. Yeah, you got to find a way that you need to talk to people that are either doing that or something close to that, and really get down and dirty with them and say, what are the 3 things that you love about what you do? What are the 3 things that aren't so good about what you do?
And that's why we're in radio, right? For the money and the chicks.
Oh, my God.
We're going to take a short break here. Don't go away. When we come back, I promise you the second half of this interview is going to rock more than the first half. Share it with your friends on Facebook, okay? Back in a minute. And we are back with my guest, David Nash. Before we continue with David, I just need to make a couple of announcements. I want to thank the people who made donations to Age Out Angels this week because we love you, love you, love you so much. Thanks especially to Marianne Brandmeier, Chris Evans, Jeff and Lisa Filer for your very, very, very generous donations. And one of those 3 people actually sent me a form with their donation that I could submit to their company who would match the donation times 5. So think about that if you are thinking about a donation to Age Out Angels or any other child welfare agency. Find out if your company has a matching gifts program. And remember, every time you purchase something from Amazon, you could be making a donation to Age Out Angels without spending a penny more. You heard correctly, it does not cost money. When you go to Amazon, there's a little pop-up that offers you a chance to go to Amazon Smile. And if you make your purchase through Amazon Smile, you can designate Age Out Angels as your donation organization. So without it costing you more, a portion of your purchase will go to help children who need it the most. And if you want to friend me on Facebook, I can send you a link that will take you directly there and save you a few clicks. And you could also feel free, now that you're feeling good and spring is in the air, to go to the ageoutangels.org website, make a donation in honor of your mother for Mother's Day. And nothing like making a donation in honor of a mother to help a child. Sounds like that fits, right? Also, I want to make you aware of a new program being offered at Age Out Angels called Guided Imagery. It's widely accepted that traumatic events that happen to teens during their childhood resurface as obstacles that impede their ability to stay on a path to success. These negative experiences undermine their sense of self and give them a feeling of general worthlessness. Guided Imagery helps groups of teens bring to the surface good memories. It teaches them how to use those good memories to overcome the bad memories and enable self-empowerment. Any organizations that are interested in this program should contact me directly at greg@ageoutangels.org. Back to our guest, David Nash. David, so we were hitting on this before, and I want to get into it a little bit deeper. Because the world has changed dramatically.
Yes.
Certainly since I went to college, I paid $500 a semester.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the tuition.
Yeah.
Okay? And I followed that path exactly as you described it. Went through school figuring, I'll find myself when the time comes.
You found your way
and
as
I
you
did.
progressed through it. Absolutely.
And that all worked out fine. But it's so totally different now.
It is. The core element of trying to find your way is still there. And one of the elements that we're always infusing in many different ways to our guys and girls in our school is we've studied it, we've heard it, we've seen the kids come back and visit that are successful in all different ways. And there's 5. I'm going to give you the 4 right now that we tell every guy and girl that comes in the 4 walls of our school. And I make them, when I first get to teach them in OSHA, I kind of get them going with this. I said, well, how can you obtain that adult life, that adult freedom, that adult respect, that adult money? Because that's what motivates us in adolescence. We want to, remove ourselves from our parents' house and live our own lives. And so, of course, they raise their hand and they say a 2-year, 4-year school. And I said, absolutely right. And I said, what's next? Military. A lot of times people overlook the military. Everybody has this preconceived notion on the East Coast, whether it's from Boston to Philly, down to D.C., that the military is a dead end or it's not going to yield anything. Look, back in the 80s, everybody's got visions, or 90s, or even 10 years ago, about a recruiter. The game is different. Their marketing strategies changed. And I toured with the Army recently. I learned all about the different occupations that you can do, whether it be the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. Hey, if that floats your boat, great. The other one is career employment with upward mobility. Amazon's right in Robbinsville, if you're in the area. I have a student that graduated from auto tech, wasn't too keen on working on the automotive world, which is great. We view that as a success as well. Just because you come to a program in Mercer County Technical Schools doesn't mean you're pigeonholed into that program only.
Forever.
It literally is a spider web of opportunity.
Yeah.
He went and interviewed at Amazon about 2-3 years ago, got in because of his training, his technical training, because of the OSHA card that he received and had. He's now working on the automated robots there. Came back and visited us 2 years, and the kids come back and visit all the time. If you're a student that's listening and you have a success story, we would love to see you. You can call me. You can stop in. Whatever Mr. Simic wants to see you, the staff, the family. It's family.
And that's why, we, the point that we're trying to drive home, George at Innovative wrote in to say
Innovative Awards. George at Innovative Awards is a gentleman.
Go, Mr. Nash. I want to tell you something. When I told people you were going to be a guest on the show, you are only the second person in the 34 episodes I've done of this show that people actually friended me on Facebook in advance.
Wow.
To tell me.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored for that.
Well, I'm just here to embarrass you. That's my job.
You know
but what I'm saying is that 20 years ago, even, there was no Amazon. There wasn't a big plan in Robbinsville that was centered around robotics.
It's funny you say that, and then we'll connect with that, build off of that. There was GM, and people would graduate Steiner High School and go to the GM factory, but that was a one-dimensional job. Now, everybody has an understanding that you're going to shift careers a minimum of 4 to 7 times is how often people shift careers in today's day and age.
Sure.
So the opportunities really are endless, and it's a springboard. And the best case scenario, somebody falls in love with what they study, and they unlock that career treasure trove, if you would. And then they can unpack it as their life goes on. Or the other thing we view as a success is a guy or girl hangs their hat on, I want to be a commercial artist. I want to be a person that, I love drawing in my room. I'm going to be an artist. They come, they learn the nuts and bolts of the business, and they go, oh, wow, my junior year in high school, I don't think this is for me. That's a win. Rather than hang your hat on a $200,000 college education that you're indebted for. See, I've talked with the guys and girls. They think that they don't have to pay it back.
Right.
I'm like, whoa.
For some reason, word hasn't made it through that you cannot discharge student loans in bankruptcy. Not only do they stay with you forever, they grow.
Yes. And once guys and girls realize that it's 2-year, 4-year school, military, career employment with upward mobility, or trade-based employment. A lot of people don't know that Local 269, the electrician union, is constantly begging for people to come in and just take the test and sample the program. We have the Carpenters Union right up in Edison. And it's not union. We have an evening school at Mercer. Every county CTE school in New Jersey primarily has evening school
Even
program.
adult
Absolutely.
level courses.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and you're not in high school or your kids are past high school, we have incredible evening school programs that you can go to and bolster your ability in your career site, or if you want to transition to another career, you can do that.
I'm so mad at schools like ITT Tech and what they're called for-profit specialty schools, right? And they get these kids when they're at a vulnerable point, right? Because the kids are they sort of don't know exactly what it is that they want to do, and they sit them down and they just extract as much money as they can on a private type of loan. It's not even always a government loan, right?
It's not
a
Fannie Mae,
private style loan, and it's not $150,000, but it's $30,000 or $40,000. And they bang them out into the workforce without the right set of skills. And even as an adult, even somebody who's sitting there thinking, well, I'm not in high school anymore. I'm too old. I couldn't go to high school.
Yes.
Well, you're right. If you're 21, 22 years old, they don't want you in the daytime high school program.
But the evening school is totally viable.
Exactly.
And again, it's on our website, and any other CTE website across the nation has this opportunity.
And they can't exactly, when you talk about the trades, it's not like they can just farm those out overseas, right?
See,
I mean, those aren't the kinds of jobs you can just give away.
So within the course of a week, I'll receive either a minimum of 5 to 10 emails, voicemails, etc., and everything, blue collar, white collar, large bureaucracy, Princeton University to the county, the state, to small mom and poppers that want to really mentor and help someone upload. Then this is what they say: I need somebody that shows up 5 days a week. I need somebody that puts their phone in their car, and I need somebody that cares about our clients.
Yeah.
And that's really that's the new starting point. And
Sure.
coupled with someone's natural ability and passion and the base theory, because there's theory that Gus, that's the foundation of a person's ability to perform, is the knowledge and the subject matter. Yeah. And that's what a CTE school like Mercer County Technical Schools delivers to the guys and girls that are coming to us.
I think a lot of times employers don't necessarily want you to know everything,
They don't.
right? They want you to, to have the platform that you need to be able to be trained in their way.
We call it an apprentice level amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
You need to know enough to where you're competent on the subject matter,
Yeah.
but they're going to mold your wet clay. They're going to mold and shape you. By the end of it, so we're 2-year share time programs, 4-year academy programs. The end of the program, whether it's 2-year or 4-year, our target objective as a staff and as a family is to connect the correct. I always say this: there's a horse for every stable, and we want to see a guy and girl get into a career-based position that will provide tuition reimbursement. Right now, there's a student in auto tech who is a Lawrence High School student. He went to work for a private shop up in Hopewell, Union Line Garage. He's working there. He tried it on for size, and they're going to align him with a position and allow him to go to work there and pay for his schooling at Mercer County Community College. They're paying for it, provided he gets a B.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
where are you going to get that?
That's right.
His talent is recognized, and he's going to be uploaded with opportunity.
And so because of this, because of the way the nature of jobs and factories and workplaces have changed because of technology and stuff like that over the last 20 years or so, and this may particularly apply to the military. There must be, like when you say I'm going to be an electrician or I'm going to be a plumber or I'm going to be a carpenter or something like that, there must be 100 different directions that you can go, from that point. And I was thinking about the military when you said that, actually, because I was told like a while ago, I used to do a lot of work with a Boy Scout troop, and they have a big relationship with the local military, and they said, look, we're not really looking for people who are coming in born to be infantrymen. That's not exactly what we're looking for, because even if you're going to do that, even if you're going to be in the infantry, modern high-tech weaponry, requires a different skill set than just muscle.
When we worked with, so we had a colonel come to our school and speak with our staff. They're really actively pursuing people for cybersecurity.
Yeah.
They're looking for, the Army has 140, they call MOSs. It's how they describe positions. And off those 140 positions, it spider webs into a whole network. If you want to be a radiologist, you don't have to go to a program that's going to saddle you with debt. The Army will teach you, and then when you get out, if you want to continue on, they'll provide some type of way that you can keep accessing it, or you can go to a hospital and you're first on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, it all starts with recognizing what you're interested in, what you're naturally good at. That subject in school, that it resonates with you. It activates a warmness inside of you, and you're like, man, everybody else blows this off, but I find it fascinating. So that's what I'd invest.
Also, though, I think that people have to realize, too, that because of the technological advances and stuff like that, it's it's like a little bit tougher sometimes than it used to be. And so it's not just you sort of, go to school and take a 2-year trade thing or something like that, and then you are that. And you're out there making 6 figures, right?
This is what we say to
There's a path.
This is what we say to the guys and girls. The staircase keeps having steps added. Back in 1970, 80, 90, 2000, the staircase had 20,000 steps, 25,000 steps, 30,000. Now the staircase has 72,837 steps. But you always got to start at step 1.
Right.
And you always got to realize that it's an evolving process.
Yeah.
Look at what a car was in 1980 to what it is now.
Yes.
They're rolling living rooms. It's awesome.
Yes.
But you're not going to get the same level of schooling to be able to handle working on that vehicle.
Yes.
And that means the person who's wanting to do that needs to rise up and find the environment where they can rise up and be uploaded. And that's who we are.
Yeah, in 1980, I could work on a car because
You
could open the hood and I could see the ground.
Yes.
When I looked inside. Now I open the hood and I run screaming.
Now you got cooled seats. You got a multi-screen theater, et cetera, et cetera.
It's pretty amazing. So the competition can be really pretty stiff. And I remember when I mentioned the Boy Scout troop before, a lot of times kids in the troop, we'd say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we were talking to kids who are like 12, 13, 14 years old. And many, many children would say, I want to be a designer of video games.
Absolutely.
And so we would say, well, okay, what have you done, to this point? What are you?
I'm good at playing them.
Yeah.
I'm good at playing them.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, what they weren't realizing was the kids who are going to grow up and be the mega designers of video games are already designing games when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. They're not just playing them and dreaming that life could be sweet if I could do this for the rest of my life. Now, case in point, though. Case in point, I got an email from your company the other day, from the Mercer County Technical Schools, okay? And they're talking about this thing. This is a competition that they're having for the culinary school, right?
This is wonderful.
And it's called the Mystery Box Competition, and I want to read the rules to you because they will knock you out. It's the rules for a competition being held for 7th and 8th graders. Okay?
Correct.
7th and 8th graders. The Mystery Box Competition. Rule number 1. Contestants must make 2 identical plates of an appetizer and 2 identical plates of an entree. Rule number 2. Contestants will have 30 minutes of introduction, safety, and kitchen orientation. Contestants will have 60 minutes to produce 2 identical plates of their appetizer. Any time not utilized during the 60 minutes can be rolled into the entree time.
Here you go.
Then they have 60 minutes to produce 2 identical plates of their entree. This is, when I went to school in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, girls learned home ec.
Wow.
Starting with, this is a spatula. And we're talking about people in 7th and 8th grade, right? I remember like whole workshops for girls when I went to school to teach them how to make egg salad. And this is expected in a competition.
And our culinary program starts with 9th graders, but we want to reach out to 7th and 8th graders in the community. It's going to be held the same day on May 12th, Mother's Day Saturday, May 12th, at the SciPec Center, which is up by Ryder and Bull Run Road and TCNJ, the College of New Jersey. It's that campus, Mercer County Technical Schools campus. We're going to have a car show. We're going to be doing a drive one for your school fundraising event, which is incredible. I'll tell you about
great,
that.
yeah.
But more importantly, we're going to have an opportunity for these for the 7th and 8th graders to come in and try their hand in a professional kitchen. Chef Engel, Chef Silverman are our chef instructors. Phenomenal. Both have a host of incredible places they've worked. And Chef Engel's been with us over 20 years. And when I was a kid going to school, the food program was, hamburgers, diner. It was a diner. It was literally a diner.
Diner food.
Chef Engel came in '98 and gutted the kitchen, and he's been improving it ever since. And now we just brought on Chef Silverman. These are 2 local chefs. Chef Engel was born and raised in Imlaystown, worked in eating clubs in Princeton. Chef Silverman worked at Elements in Princeton. He's been all around the country, both CIA grads, Culinary Institute of America graduates. Incredible, incredible program. If you are fascinated with the world of food, we have a bacon and dining program. Mrs. LaFleur is our instructor there. Incredible. So if your son or daughter is passionate about the kitchen and wants to come on out, and they're in 7th and 8th grade, come on out. If they're a little bit older, come out and tour the kitchen. They can apply. You can go right to the website right now, mcts.edu. And
so there's going to be a car show. Spectators are invited,
absolutely.
like the public is invited to come out. Say that date again.
Mother's Day Saturday, May 12th, we're having a car show, an alumni car show with the Central Jersey Car Club partnering with us. Anybody who's a graduate's welcome to come on out. We're going to have the mystery box competition. We're also going to do we partner up with Haldeman Ford and Ford Motor Company for a Drive One for Your School fundraiser.
Yeah.
Zero cost. Zero cost.
Yeah.
You show up, you test drive a car, answer 5 market research questions, school gets $20.
Yep.
And it's incredible. It's a no-brainer fundraiser. So you can see everybody, here's what it boils down to. Conventional education sells chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and will always do that, and they're successful at that. We do pecan praline. We do gourmet Rocky Road. It's not seawater flavored ice cream.
Your metaphors are making me hungry.
Well, everybody connects with food. I know I do. But the reality is if you want to experience something people are passionate about, that's what we bring.
It's a wonderful alternative, and I hope people don't think that we're like disparaging public school or disparaging college or or anything like that. That's really not the point of this. The point of this is to recognize the fact that every child is an individual, and that regardless of what that child's skill set may be, if we all work together, we can find ways to monetize that skill set and get them into the program that's appropriate.
It used to be a one-size-fits-all. Not sure with Jill or Tom's doing. Put them in a school, let them figure it out. The game has changed. We got a world market going now. And here's the best thing I've seen. I consider working with kids being a fountain of youth, and I love when I see them come alive. And there's a whole point where they have to learn to trust us, and we earn their respect. Respect is earned, it's never given. And I'm a firm believer of that. I've run in a classroom for almost 20 years. And once these guys and girls see that we're all in, they go all in. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And we've had some interesting things here I've ignored. A lot of what's hashtag Get NASH?
Well,
is that your Twitter?
No. There's the kids came up with a phrase at the school. They'll come out of my office and they'll say to each other, "Oh, you just got nashed," and it's almost like an adverb or a verb, and it's an experience where I put my heart and soul into each individual that I work with, and a phenomenon that we're seeing within the school is people that are 14 or 15, they don't work, and where do you learn how to work? You learn how to work at work, and if you talk to anybody, if you did a blanket poll to anybody and said, "Hey, when did you start working?" They're going to say between 11 and 13, paper route, babysitting, etc. And by the time they're 14 or 15, they evolve to simple retail. And by the 17, 18, they've unlocked something they're interested in. And so we try to get that going because we know that yields dividends with our community partners and our career opportunities. So that's when you see people are getting nashed, it's me saying, "Hey, where are you working? Hey, let's get you going."
Okay.
And I help them. I don't. I'm not up.
Don't just put them on the spot, right?
I don't kick anybody in the shins and run away. That's not what I do.
That's right.
So.
And Mitch, who's been out there writing in all night because he likes you so much, you don't realize this, but he was also in that Boy Scout troop I mentioned. So,
wow.
So Mitch's last note to us is "Go Troop 33," and
Awesome.
we love you, Mitch. Thanks so much for writing in tonight, Mr. Nash. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. I'm going to take a short break. We're going to come back with a few final words, so don't go away, and there's still time to hit that share button. David Nash from Mercer County Technical Schools. Thank you so much, sir. Absolute.
Thank you.
And we are back. Thanks for staying with us. We ran a little bit over, and I have 2 stories here I still wanted to get to you, and hopefully I'll get through both of them. Because this came from Rewire News, and it's very important. The headline from an author named Anna Maria Scaccia. And it's from Rewire News. The Trump administration is making it harder to stop foster children from being trafficked. Last week, the administration delayed an Obama-era rule that would have made it easier to collect data crucial to improving the lives of sex trafficking victims in the foster care system. Research has shown that the state child welfare agencies can fail to provide children exiting the system with the proper resources and tools that prepare them for independent adulthood. How many times tonight have we heard that? The lack of aid threatens a youth's health and stability, increasing their risk of joblessness and homelessness. So now we're talking about a child who's in an extremely vulnerable state. And forgive me for using the word child. I mean, they're young adults is what they are. But statistics show that every year thousands of children in the U.S. foster care system are sexually exploited by traffickers who prey on their vulnerability. These kids are easily targeted, advocates say, in part because of a flawed child welfare system that, as hard as it works to get better, often fails to provide them with proper support and protection. Still, there exists a dearth of available government data tracking foster care youth who have been sexually exploited. And that would have changed with the Obama-era rule preventing sex trafficking and strengthening families act, which reformed state reporting requirements, requiring foster youth and sex trafficking. Regarding foster youth and sex trafficking, but the Trump administration has recently decided to delay key data collection provisions of the 2014 law for the next 2 years, meaning that advocates will have to wait even longer for a better sense of how many victims are in the system. And they fear that that will only put foster care youth more at risk. So that's something we're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, there's an organization called youthradio.org, and Youth Radio reporter Brooke Retutar interviewed college students who had non-traditional paths to higher education. And today's story is 23-year-old Yahira Reed, a student at Palomar College in San Marcos, California. Yahira says, growing up in foster care, I bounced around different homes and had to mature faster than most children my age. The only time I felt like a normal kid was at school, which I actually find interesting on 2 levels. The first is, what people often forget is when a child is in foster care, one mistake can get you bounced out of foster care. And how many mistakes a day did our children make when we were raising our biological children and our adopted children? And we said, honey, it doesn't mean you're bad, it just means you did a bad thing. But foster kids, they can be bounced right out the next day. And she says, the only time I felt like a normal kid was at school, which I think is pretty cool because foster kids and homeless kids usually are the recipients of a lot of bullying at school because kids know who they are. The other kids know who they are. They know when they're coming to school wearing the same clothes every day. They know when they're bounced around from school to school. And it sounds like she maybe was spared at least that part of the horror. She says, my life was scattered and messy. My most stable time was living with a family from age 4 to 13. Sadly, they moved out of state, and I was forced to stay behind. From then on, I was tossed around group homes and attended various elementary and high schools. I didn't stay in one place longer than 6 months. When I hit the age of 18, around the time most teens prepare to go to college, the group home I was living in gave me a tote bag, packed up my stuff, and dropped me off at a bus stop. I was homeless and spent countless nights crying. Stated plainly, I was scared. However, I was determined to find work and somehow attend a university, and you will find that there is a percentage of homeless kids ages, say, 14 to 17, 18 years old, who will figure out a way to stay in high school. It's actually mind-boggling how they do it, and I know a lady who did that, and it's just amazing. She says, I badly wanted to go to school, but being homeless made it difficult for obvious reasons. I slept in trolley stations and clean places to avoid getting mugged. All the while, I thought about my future and what that would look like. After a lot of hustling, I landed a job and found a friend who offered me a place to stay. I was able to work and prepare for college. After a couple of years, the foster care system underwent reforms and began housing programs, thank goodness. These programs assist former foster youth like me with transitioning to their own housing after they reach adulthood. Because of this, I was able to find a place of my own. I am now 23 years old and am finally attending community college. I am studying at Palomar College in San Marcos, California, to be a forensic anthropologist. I run for the track team and hope to someday transfer to the University of Southern California. And as a forensic anthropologist, I hope you're considering grad school. I definitely feel like an old lady being a freshman surrounded by 19-year-olds. But it's crazy to look back and see how far I've come. To anyone who has experienced hardship or trauma, my advice is to be nice to yourself. I realize now there's no shame in telling my story. Everyone grows up from different backgrounds. What truly matters is what we choose to do with our lives today. 23 and she's finally in college, and it can be a very long road. So we've talked tonight about, you know, a couple of programs have come up that are trying to make things better for people, especially when they age out of foster care. And so you have to balance that with the children who are left behind. And so just today I was talking to a young lady who was in that odd situation where when the college semester ends, she will be homeless for 4 weeks. And then the college is nice enough to her to bring her back in after 4 weeks, and she can resume and have a job and have a place to stay. But she's going to be homeless for 4 weeks. And the first question I said to her is, have you ever applied for wraparound funds? You used to be in foster care. You qualify for wraparound funds. And she said, yes, I have. But she was actually adopted out of foster care before the age of 13 and only recently became homeless. So there's a loophole that says because she was adopted before the age of 13, she doesn't qualify for wraparound funds. So you hear these great stories and all the work that's being done, but no money for her. Hey, another hour of talking about the things that are most important, that affect youth and that we should be talking about more. Thanks so much to my guest, David Nash. He is wonderful and inspiring, and I understand why his students love him. Join me next Thursday at 8 p.m. My guest in studio will be Ratisha Berthier, who will talk about her experience working on a mental health staff in a group home, so buckle up for that one. Until next week, let's make this week the best week ever. Good night.